Right, so playing this at 50% speed again, just so it's a little easier to explain things. When the fight starts, you kind of want to just shoot at the dog for a few seconds if you can. I'm using the Peashooter, so I kind of have to aim that. If you're using a weapon like the Seeker or the Crack Shot, you can just shoot and it'll hit him automatically. When he uses the cannon bazooka thing, you can just duck under the balls that are coming at you and make sure that you're not in the way of the tennis balls. You can also jump over them, although that's a little bit more tricky, and hitting some damage on him is pretty useful during that part of the fight. Like I said, just make sure that you're not in the way of some tennis balls being thrown out by the puppies. Making sure you're in the right position is pretty useful. One thing I didn't know for a little bit is that where you stand on the plane actually steers it. Like if you stand on the right side of the plane, it moves to the right, and the left, it moves to the left. So standing in the middle during certain attacks is pretty important, just because it keeps the plane still or stops it from moving around anywhere near as much. The parries on this phase are kind of where you want to get your 3 parries, and we're trying to keep our super meter for the second phase. There's a few different patterns to that attack where he spits out the bones and you can get your parries off. Learning them is pretty important for the fight, and knowing when to go for those parries is also pretty important. Like I said, keeping the super meter through this phase so that when the puppies spawn, we can hit them with the super and it'll kill 2 of them. I'm using the first super for Miss Chalice, which is that sort of big beam that goes across the center of the screen. You can also use the one that goes horizontally rather than vertically, and it'll kind of do the same thing. They're both pretty useful, but I like to use that first one. If you're using the Crack Shot or the Seeker, this phase of the fight is going to be a lot easier for you than it was for me. Hitting these guys while avoiding these letters is actually really difficult, just because I'm using the Peashooter and it can only shoot in straight lines, and I have to manually aim it and stuff, which makes that phase a lot more difficult. But to make it easier, use the Crack Shot or the Seeker. During this phase, you just want to avoid the beams as best you can. Look out for where they're going to appear and just jump out of their way. You can parry that one, but I don't like to go for that parry. I feel like it's a bit of a tricky one. And before the screen flips here, you kind of want to get your planes in the center of the screen so you can just shoot upwards and hit the dog. These sections where the screen flips like this can make the fight a little confusing with your controls getting screwed around a little bit. Try to hit her with some crafty EX moves when you get the chance. And again, look out for where these lasers are going. You should have to do this 2 or 3 times to get her killed. You can hit shots on the things that are firing the lasers out at you as well. Do a little bit more damage while you're in this part of the fight. Like I said, center up that plane before the screen tilts so you can get easier hits on her and you don't have to worry about it. If you're trying to move left and right during this part of the fight, it can really confuse you and screw you over and easily get you taking damage. I'm pretty sure to get the A+ here, we've got to get under 2 minutes. Obviously, we've got to get 3 parries, 6 supers, and over 3 HP, which means, you know, you can take 1 hit and still get the A+. Yeah, these lasers can be really annoying. I really don't like to go for that parry either. It's a difficult one to hit. With Miss Chalice, if you're playing as Cuphead, you can just jump and hit your parry that way, but because she has the dash parry, it can make things a little bit more complicated, so I just don't like to bother with it. That's why I kind of like to get my 3 parries in the first phase of the fight. And then we go then. So let's take a look at the fight at normal speed. See how we get on. Alright, try and think if there's anything I missed to mention. These puppies can be really annoying if you're trying to duck under the balls of yarn that are coming at you and the tennis balls get in your way. Hitting these parries, if you get the one that spits out 2 parries, you can go for both of them if you want to. You don't have to in order to get your super meter full, but because that's what we're aiming for before we get to the second phase, I like to go for them if I can, but it doesn't always happen, so... But you will still get a full super meter even if you don't get that. So, it's up to you how you handle it. So, take out those fire extinguishers. They're a real nuisance. I think about halfway through the fight, you see the plane in the background spit those fire extinguishers out. It can make things a little bit difficult when they're sort of like homing in on you. These puppies, man. There's actually another phase to this fight. If you get all of the puppies with the, I think it's like grey steam coming out the back of their jetpacks, you can get a different phase here so you don't have to deal with the lasers. And the puppy and the girl dog will be like hanging out those little holes where the lasers come from. Sort of a secret phase. There's actually quite a few bosses in Cuphead that have those weird phases where if you do certain things, you'll get something different happen. I might make a video showing them all at some point, because there's quite a few of them. Right, we're nearly done here. These dog balls can be difficult to avoid, especially if the yellow and the red ones intersect. You'll have to do like a double jump to get over both of them. I think this is the last phase. I know when I first tried this fight, the screen spinning like that really threw me. I didn't know what I was doing with my controls. You kind of just have to experience it and feel it out, get used to where your buttons are. But there we go, that's the A+ for Howling Aces. Like I said, I think you need under 2 minutes, which can be kind of difficult. A lot of the time, just getting, with the Peashooter anyway, getting the time under 2 minutes is the most difficult part. Sometimes the parries are hard too though. But yeah, that's it. I got a few more guides for the DLC, if you want to check them out. I'll be posting all of the bosses eventually. They'll be linked on screen and in the description. Yeah, like I said, thanks for watching. That's about it. I'll see you next time.